Well, hello and welcome to Binge Watch, the podcast where we take a look at the hottest new TV and film releases on streaming television platforms. I'm Hannah Fernando, the group editor of Woman and Woman and Home magazine.
And I'm Ian McEwan, writer on TV and Satellite Week, TV Times and What's on TV magazines. And today we're looking at the new releases that will be available on Friday the 16th of August 2024, including Vince Vaughn in hard-boiled Florida comedy thriller Bad Monkey on Apple TV+, and A Lad's Holiday Gone Badly Wrong in the new comedy drama Stags on Paramount+.
And we'll also be checking out The Big Brunch, a new cookery show from Schitt's Creek star Dan Levy, and having daddy issues with David Morrissey and Amy Lee Wood on BBC iPlayer. But first, Ian, what is in the news?
Well, Hannah, A, it was my birthday this week, and B, the fourth run of Netflix period drama Bridgerton will centre on the second eldest Bridgerton, artist Benedict, played by Luke Thompson, who is transfixed by a mystery woman at a masquerade ball. What else is in the news?
Cannot wait. Richard Gere is joining the cast of Paramount Plus drama The Agency, starring Michael Fassbender, which sounds like a real treat.
Good selection this week. I like all four of our offerings. We're going to start over on Apple TV Plus with a new comedy thriller series that arrived on Wednesday the 14th of August. It's called Bad Monkey. And here's a clip.
I'm suspended. I'm technically not even a detective anymore. They said I was consistently reckless, inappropriate, and glib. Why can't you just hide me on the desk in here or something? I wouldn't even be doing any real work. I'd just be checking the websites I like.
You want your job back? I've got something that the sheriff wants you to drive to Miami.
The arm? That's all they found?
Nah, man, the head's in the passenger seat.
So you get your first 2 eps, and then it drops weekly. This stars Vince Vaughn. Big fan of Vince Vaughn. His breakthrough film was Jon Favreau's Swingers, about kind of a road trip to Vegas. And he was superb in that. And since then, he tends to get cast as quite sort of laid-back, kind of likeable characters with kind of a nice line and sarcastic put-downs. He's perfectly cast in this. Oh, it's based on a novel, by the way, by Carl Hiaasen. He plays Andrew Yancy, who is a Florida cop, but he's been suspended from his job because he's having a relationship with this married woman, and he rammed the golf cart that her husband was sitting in and pushed it over the edge of the quay. So yeah, he's suspended and he's just hanging out at his beachfront home. Then a tourist is fishing and fishes a severed arm out of the sea. So long story short, I'm not going to tell you too much about the plot, but long story short, he gets given the job of kind of just dealing with that because they don't want it to affect the tourist trade. They just want to kind of get rid of it and close the case. But Yancy being Yancy, he can't help but dig a little bit deeper. Okay, so that's one side of the story. Oh yeah, and then so he's going to meet the widow of the deceased Eve, played by Meredith Hagner, who doesn't seem very upset about her husband's demise. And Rob Delaney, the wonderful Rob Delaney, who we know from many things, including Catastrophe with Sharon Horgan. Well, yes, he's in this with a very fine moustache as her new boyfriend. Meanwhile, over in the Bahamas, there's a fisherman called Neville. He's played by Ronald Peet, who has a capuchin monkey. There's the monkey of the title. And their beach shack is going to be demolished to make way for a luxury resort. And these two plot lines are going to kind of converge. I really liked this. I love Vince Vaughn, and I think this is just the perfect role for him. And it's got this kind of quite hard-boiled narration, which is really good. It's very funny. It clips along at a nice pace. I do like his partner from work, who's kind of got a bit of an Alan Arkin type vibe to him. Yeah, there's lots of twists and turns. There's lots of very amusing dialogue. I thought it was great. And Florida Keys look lovely. What did you think, Hannah?
It's quite multi-layered, isn't it? Multifaceted. There's sort of like lots of things kind of going on here, and sort of a bit of something for everyone. At one point, I thought I knew where we were going with it, and another point, I was thinking, "Hang on a minute, this is taking a different direction," which is good. And as you say, Vince Vaughn is great. He's kind of really mastered this kind of character, hasn't he? And he's kind of. I don't know, he's very commanding, and over the years, everything that he's done, he's always played that sort of person. I don't know that he's typecast, because he brings something to every single part that he plays, but I think he's absolutely great in this. And there's lots of things to say that you don't see coming, and there's absolutely lots going on with a really lovely backdrop as well. So yeah, it was really quite different and enjoyable.
Slightly less glamorous backdrop for our next selection. Over on BBC Three and as a box set on BBC iPlayer, arriving on Thursday the 15th of August, we have the new comedy series Daddy Issues, and here's a clip.
Congratulations, Gemma. Is the father around? Pass. My life's a mess right now. This isn't something you should do on your own.
Dad, it's Gemma.
I'm glad you finally got to see the place.
Oh, what is that?
That's just where I've been crying.
Planning a birth is like planning a car crash.
Oh,
Why can't you behave like a fully grown adult?
I'm going to be a granddad.
So I didn't really know what to expect with this one. It's quite gritty, but it's also it's kind of, yeah. Let's take you back to the beginning. So essentially, this is a 6-part series. And David Morrissey plays the part of the dad from the Daddy Issues in the title, and he's great in this part. Actually, he's living in this sort of bedsit flat after his wife's left him. He's a bit of a no-hoper, really, but heart's in the right place type of person, a bit kind of useless. But his daughter, Gemma, she's played by Sex Education's Aimee Wood. She's young, she's a party goer, she's out all the time, she's just quite crazy. She's not stereotypical either, which I quite liked about her. She falls pregnant. She's had this fling. And she wants to she keeps the baby, and she asks her dad to be her flatmate. She's got nowhere to go, but really what happens is she essentially becomes kind of a mother for two of them. So he's quite hapless. He's quite funny. The whole thing can be quite funny in places, although there's this sort of like quite serious kind of conversation and a narrative playing alongside. But it's just quite funny to see the dynamic change. So there she is asking her dad for help, but actually there she is being the one who's having to take control, even down to sort of making the cot. She kind of touches it and it kind of falls apart. So he tries really, really hard. He's not nasty in any sense, and a really fun chap. And their relationship and the way they bounce off each other, I think works really well, because they're both, I mean, you can see that she's the product of him, because she's about as car crash as he is. Yeah, I think it's probably he's at a time in his life where he needs that kind of, he needs something in his life. This is giving him a purpose to a degree, although probably not what he was expecting. And you see them navigate a very different part of their life. It's I think it's one of those things. It says it's 6 parts. I think you'll want to binge watch the lot. I don't think it's one you'll want to leave. I don't know what you thought, Ian.
I thought it was very funny. And I mean, David Morrissey, he's so great. He's so versatile. He's great at straight drama. He's got a really nice comedic touch in this. And I loved Aimee Wood in Sex Education. She was terrific in that. And she's the latest of those young stars from Sex Education to sort of break out and get her own. It's a kind of, virtually her show, isn't it? So, I thought it was really good. And as you say, he's sort of a deadbeat dad. He's ended up living in this shared house with all these weird guys, and it's grim, it's grotty. And in episode 1, there's a really funny scene where Gemma comes round to see Malcolm, and one of the other guys who lives in the house, one of his so-called new friends, sort of tries to hit on her, and it's just the way it plays out is absolutely hilarious. It's brilliant. So I think I love these characters. And I thought the dialogue was really funny. So, yeah, a very enjoyable and amusing new comedy. Over on the streaming service You, formerly known as UK TV Play, arriving on Wednesday the 14th of August. Well, we've got a new cookery show. We don't do many of those, do we, Hannah? This one is called The Big Brunch. And here's a clip.
As a chef, you wear 3 hats. You're a mentor, you're a coach, and then you're a chef.
Brunch is the ultimate connector, the perfect convergence of food, comfort, and friendship.
It provides a space for people to come together and share our stories.
So we built a show to celebrate 10 chefs, each striving to improve their communities by connecting people with food.
Attention, Schitt's Creek fans. I mean, it was a big hit, wasn't it, that series, starring several members of the Levy family. Well, Dan Levy, who played the son, he's the presenter of this show, which, as the title suggests, is very MasterChef-y, really. So there's Levy presents it, and then you've got 2 guest judges who are experts in restaurants and cookery. But it's all centred around brunch. And I love brunch. And I love MasterChef. So what's not to like? Levy, I didn't realise he actually started out as a presenter on MTV in Canada. So he's a dab hand at hosting this kind of show. He's very amusing. He's very charming. He's wearing an interesting outfit. He's wearing what appears to be the biggest tank top I've ever seen. Yeah, so they built this very fancy looking kitchen and dining room, and it's a set. And then there's a sort of partition that drops down between the two. The conceit of it as well is that, like, all of the chefs that they've chosen to take part in it, they're all there because they're kind of doing something laudable, often involving their local community. But yeah, why is it? They do kind of stretch what the definition of brunch, because it would get quite boring if it was all kind of eggs, avocado and bacon and that kind of thing. So, I mean, I can consume cookery shows just forever. If MasterChef was on every night, I would just keep watching it. It's just a perfect, just kind of switch off TV, isn't it? You know, it's just really relaxing and good to see people serving up delicious dishes. So, yeah, I thought it was good fun, and Levy is, yeah, he's a real character, I think. And once you get over that very kind of nicey kind of American way of being on reality TV, once you get past that, it's a fun new cookery show that's slightly different, and I enjoyed it. What did you think, Hannah?
Yeah, I mean, I have to say I do love a cookery programme. And as you say, this kind of brings all the best together. And who doesn't love a brunch? Absolutely brilliant. It's kind of slightly different format, isn't it? And I think that they've become so popular, these kind of cookery programmes, and also, you know, in this instance, you know, competition. And I suppose you just get completely caught up by their stories too. So you get to know the people in it, more about them, which you wouldn't ordinarily do, and kind of, you know, this amazing amount of money that they are competing for, which is, you know, $300,000. And in this instance, I mean, it makes me laugh though, because it sort of talks about, you know, they want to serve up the next generation of success stories in American cuisine. And I had to rack my brains about what that could be, but I'm thinking serious pancakeage, which goes down well with me, to be honest with you. But yeah, I thought it was great. And all I would say, it should come with a warning, is that you need to eat before, because it will make you very hungry.
Well, we're going to finish over on Paramount Plus with a new drama series that arrived on Thursday, the 15th of August. It's called Stags. And here's a clip.
Cocaine. Am I still getting married? It makes Guantanamo look bougie. Facing 100 years.
Do you know who I am?
Thanks for coming, Father of the Bride.
That psycho seems to run the prison and we are elite.
They make coke here. Apparently, are always looking for new people.
Yes, so this is a new comedy drama, as you say, on Paramount Plus. It's not that comedic in places, I've got to be honest with you. It's pretty gritty, pretty scary actually, but enjoyable. It is enjoyable. So there's a group of lads, group of mates, but they're all kind of from all different walks of life. They're not just friends. They're kind of, from university, from work, all different dynamic of people, different backgrounds, etc. Kind of meeting together for this wild week of partying. In South America. And the thing is the I suppose this is always everybody's worry about a stag do, is just how sensible everyone will be, and it's kind of organised, and I don't know, I feel like the time has gone past where where you shave an eyebrow off, and of course that doesn't grow back in time for the wedding. I feel like those days are done, but perhaps not. So they fly off for this really quite hedonistic stag party, and it all goes really quite wrong. So the funny parts are seeing them party, what they're doing, being crazy, but they're obviously big drinkers, but also big drug users. And on their way home, one of these lads decides to try and bring a load of cocaine home with him. He collapses because he swallowed it, and he collapses and taken to hospital. Of course, they realise exactly what's gone on, and they're all arrested, and they're taken to this really horrible... This is where the non-comedic part happens, although there's still the narrative tries to keep it light, but it's pretty hard. Takes them to this really awful South American prison. It's kind of... you think of those kind of really awful prisons like Alcatraz, and does that exist or doesn't it? Prisons, and everyone's dressed in orange suits, and it's just absolutely awful. And this is no different. So there they are. Yes, he shouldn't have done what he's done, but he's got absolutely everybody else into trouble by trying to smuggle these drugs back to Britain, and. They've got these yellow kind of prison clothes, and they're cuffed, and they have to try and sort of navigate a new way of life in this prison, whilst also trying to to go. But this prison, it's run by two rival drug dealers. And so not only is there sort of a harsh dynamic of, you got to survive prison, but also it's working out which side to be on once you're in there. People being shot, dead bodies, it's all there. So it's really gritty, it's really pacey, but and yet that sounds kind of at odds with the idea that you can have a laugh throughout it too. But you can. I didn't think this would be something for me, if I'm honest with you. I thought it would be a bit too much, but I really did, from what I've seen so far, really did enjoy it. And I enjoyed the kind of paciness of it. And even though he's done something wrong, you find yourself desperate for them to all be safe and to return home and hopefully learn a very big lesson from it. So I thought it was good. I don't know what you thought, Ian.
I enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. And the stag do, it's it's a great premise for a series, isn't it, or a film? So we had, like, years ago, we had Staggered with Martin Clunes as the groom. Then we had that TV series Stag with Rufus Jones, where I think it was set in Scotland and someone was hunting them. Here we go again, but in this case it's almost got a slight bit touch of Midnight Express, because, as you say, they're going through airport security, and it's actually Asim Chowdhury from the wonderful People Just Do Nothing, who has swallowed lots of balloons full of cocaine. It's a great start, because they don't really spend too much on the stag do itself, where all these disparate people from different parts of the groom's life are kind of together, and obviously there is some tension because they don't all get on. They get slammed up in prison, and it's a terrifying place, isn't it? So it is funny, but it's also quite hardcore, because at least in episode 1 there's some shocking violence. There's real plot twists that you weren't expecting. And yes, certainly it's fair to say they're out of their depth in this new environment. And yeah, it's one of those prisons that is not remotely recognisable in terms of anything we would think of as a prison in the UK. It's just a totally lawless place. Charlie Cooper from This Country is in it. He's great. Good to see him in this. And one of my personal favourites, Cavan Clarkin. He plays the bride's father. He, many years ago, starred in Sharon Horgan's Pulling, and as someone who gets sort of jilted by his fiancée, who's played by Sharon Horgan. And if you've never watched that, I urge you to go back. And yeah, I've just been a fan of his ever since, and he's really good in this as well, because he doesn't care about anyone except him and his son. So yeah, I thought it's kind of a bit Mad Dogsy, isn't it? Because although that wasn't a stag do, it was a group of lads who go abroad and just get involved in the sort of criminal sort of underworld. And yeah, it's got a kind of similar vibe to that. And I thought it was really well done. It was great and fresh as well. We've got to that time, Hannah, where we find out what you've been binging on.
Well, there's a film on Amazon Prime called Jennifer Aniston More Than Friends, and it kind of documents really her life and kind of how difficult parts of it have been, and you learn lots about her. So if you're a fan of Jennifer Aniston, one for you. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Also watched the end of the Olympics, and I'm getting ready for the Paralympics, which I can't wait for either. How about you, Ian?
Good stuff. Plenty of good coverage of that in TV Times and TV and Satellite Week, Paralympics fans. Well, unfortunately for me, there's yet another series of Below Deck has started called Below Deck Adventure, and this one is set in the fjords of Norway. So I've been watching that on E4, and I found a good film on Netflix called A History of Violence, starring Viggo Mortensen. So if you've not seen it, check it out. It's a good watch. Well, we've just got time before we go to look ahead to next week's offering. So what is on the Binge Watch menu, Hannah?
Well, 4 friends navigate their first high school party in riotous coming-of-age comedy, incoming on Netflix.
Incoming! And a new Prime Video documentary charts the colourful life and career of football manager Sven-Göran Eriksson. So, we look forward to those and much, much more. But in the meantime, listeners...
Watching!